guidelines and rules mean you have to do it. If we all sit in a circle and I say, Jonas, Quigley, tell me about play. You're going to tell me about play. Or you're going to read what I said because I told you to tell me. Versus us sitting down and saying, hey guys, so what's some of the ideas that we discussed? You don't have to focus on play. You can focus on listening. You can focus on whatever you want. The idea is to give you a chance to speak about what you felt you deeply connected to versus being forced to say something you might not have heard about. And letting people see your way of thinking. So do we have an idea of the differences between guidelines and rules?
Yes. I just have a very cynical and literal sense of humor.
I know. I see this. Me and you are going to have fun.
Right.
Because
Sarcasm, literal, and cynical.
over my head sometimes. Over my head. But I do respect that you guys listen to the One Mic, One Viewer thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really quick, can you guys name some of the, and you guys can use sheets for this. Aha. I want you to name, so let's talk about the first step. The first step was play, right?
Yes.
What about it?
This is where life happens.
Where life happens. Okay. No, but what about life happening? Why is that important with play?
Because we are alive and we need life.
Okay. Let's specify this a little bit more. Let's think a little bit deeper. If life is happening right now, what would make you enjoy this more?
TV.
But that's too specific. Okay, so like when it comes to life in general, you can sort of tell that everything is improvised. Like I don't really have a script in front of me, so everything I'm saying is just something off the top of my head. And the idea is that this is what's going on. This is the, well, could be a story that we're partaking in. And we're all going to have to play our roles in this. And I'm playing the role as the student talking about how we should play our roles and talk.
How do you feel about role playing this? Asking you specifically.
What I feel about it?
Yeah. So if we're playing a role, if we're in a space and we're just enjoying the area, why do you think that relates to play?
With the life of different characters.
Okay. So if life is full of different characters, how do you need to react to different characters? Are you going to treat your boss the same way you treat your little brother? Are you
Wish.
going? You wish?
So I would because I don't have a little brother.
Okay, would you treat your boss like you treat your best friend?
Someone who I respect, yes.
Oh, do you really know them?
Depends. It really depends.
Yeah.
Like, is my boss a good person?
Am I in a startup company and he's like my best friend? And if my boss is my best friend, he better not mess up the startup.
So I like this. I like where we're going because I didn't think about it that way. In my head, I would never treat my boss like my best friend. My boss could treat me like I'm their best friend, but in my head, I always set guidelines because how they can treat me and how I can treat them are two different things. If I treat them one way, that could jeopardize my job. But if they treat me a certain way, it might not necessarily jeopardize my job, and in fact, it may work in my favor depending on how much they like me or how little they like me. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. If we can go back to the PowerPoint. So we went back to the PowerPoint. I was trying to get on your level, sit down, relax. All right, we're going to move to the next screen, which is key points from video. So the first stuff we talked about is play, right? The second stuff is let yourself fail.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. So how do you let yourself fail? What example did you use in the video? Anyone? Just shout it out. There's 3 of us, 4 of us. We got me took notes.
Yeah.
No, it was the second step was listening. Oh no.
No, that's
No,
the
it wasn't.
third
That's
step.
the third step or whatever.
Second, or find the second step?
We're on the second step.
So the second step is let yourself fail.
Life, I think.
So So,
It doesn't even say.
well, so he used an example. He said, if you let yourself fail, you don't just go, oh my God, I failed. I have an F on my test. I'm gonna fail college. I don't know. I'm just gonna drop out. I'm done. In fact, you know what? I don't even care anymore. I'm just gonna live on the streets and do nothing with my life and just be whatever.
You'd be gangster AF though.
Done. No. But the idea is that you're just not gonna let yourself sit there and do nothing. If you fail a paper, you talk to the teacher, hey, what can I do to improve it? Is that something you would do?
Probably.
If you had a D in your class and you wanted it up to a B, would you figure out ways to get extra credit or find ways to work it out so that you could get a B?
Yeah.
He's saying let yourself fail, because if you let yourself fail, you're like, okay, I failed. I've accepted this. Now what can I do to improve next time?
Don't overreact.
Huh?
Don't overreact to your failure.
I love overreacting. I love it. What?
I love watching people overreact.
See, this would work. I don't
That was-
react. You'd be laughing. We'd have a good time with this.
It's like we've seen Nicolas Cage overreact all the time.
Alright guys, so the third step is listening.
Huh?
He made a quote from some wise man. What was that quote from that some wise man?
Listening is the willingness to change.
What was part B of that?
Probably Johnny.
We are just going to blank and react to blank.
Listen and change.
Listen and change.
What does that mean to you? Anyone. I will not look at anyone in particular, just see.
We're gonna listen and change.
How?
By listening and changing.
But how? What does that do? Let's think of it, not just listening and changing. What happens when you listen and change?
If you hear things and then chemicals go in your brain, then you decide a reason about something, and then that's change.
Okay, let's take that. So we're listening to something, chemical reaction happens. I understand reason or I don't understand reason, and I change who I am based off of that. When I say I change, what am I trying to change?
Your opinion or mindset.
That's where I wanted to get to.
Ah.
Oh yeah, I'm getting crazy with that. The fourth and fifth step is say yes and, right? What do you think he's asking about that?
I thought the and stuff was later.
Hmm?
I thought the and stuff was later.
Let's just put them together because it's yes and.
What if you constantly say yes and you're making the other person do all the work?
And it's like the idea is this. You add up to the idea there is. It's
It's like alcohol. You could do it a little bit,
One
but don't
micro
overdo
diva,
it.
One micro, one diva.
Yeah. It's like you have a spaceship. Yes, I do have a spaceship. It has an 8-core drive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think say yes and means? So in the second part, it's like a series of yes will take us somewhere, or a series of no won't, right? We're not necessarily saying yes and to continue forcing one person to do something, because the idea is if you're doing improvisation and we're saying yes and, that means you're saying yes and something happens at the rap. Alright, well then yes, and something else happens. I agree to the situation. Let's see how crazy we can get this. If you give me something like, I don't know, the rack has there are not enough computers on that rack. Yes, and luckily enough, we're going to the hardware store to buy technology to make more computers.
I didn't know the hardware store sells computers.
But in my
itself.
improv, it does. It doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It just needs to be something that we accept as the scene or accept as the moment, and then we go with it. Going with the flow is something that we all have to learn how to do one day. Again, the idea for this lesson wasn't to necessarily have everyone on their Chromebooks, but we're doing it because we're going with the flow. Yes, and now what can we do? Finally, we're going to play the game. Oh.
Oh my god.
We play the game, and then we relax and have fun. So, are we ready to see this in action? There's another video. go to see this in action.